What's up, guys?
So 5 contracts.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Is that kind of a byproduct of you guys needing bodies right now and needing people, or
No. If you look at the performances tonight, they're not what I normally go for. I usually go for the people that are decisive, finish the fight, and make me not say no. But when you look at a guy like Impa, he's 7-0 now. He wants to fight again on August 22nd on the Edgar Munoz fight card. So you know what? Let's see what they got. Same thing with Corey. She's young. She's 20 years old, but she's 6-1 now, and obviously looked super talented. The books had her as an underdog. The matchmakers had her as an underdog, and she came out and she won the fight impressively against a girl she was almost a 2-1 dog against. So that tells you something.
With Kasangane, if he wasn't ready to fight me, is that what did it for you? Is the fact that he was ready to go August 22nd?
The guy's 26 years old and he's 7-0. He's like going right into his prime right now. To say, hey, go back out in the small shows. And a problem with this kid is apparently in the small shows nobody wants to fight him. So he's lost like 2 or 3 fights in a row. How much longer can you do that shit when you're 26 going on 27 years old? He'll get fights here. You want to fight, you're going to get fights, and we'll find out where you're at. The kid's undefeated. He looked good. Going to be 27 here soon. We'll find out what he's got.
Do you happen to know who he's going to fight on that card?
Yeah, he's going to fight, hold on, give me a second. Patolo. Mackie Patolo. Yeah, from the Contender, too.
Curious, Stoltzfus. Obviously, that was a weird ending. Everybody, grew up, like you said. But you highlighted him to say, I expect big things out of him.
I do.
What is it that you saw, even though it was kind of a weird fight, or at least a weird ending?
He's 13-1. The kid he fought was a big, strong, powerful kid. Loved the leg kicks. Fucking busting his legs up. When it went to the ground, his ground game is sick. And he literally picked this guy, bigger, stronger than him, up over his head and broke his arm in half. I mean, this kid he just looked really seasoned to me. He looked good. He looked comfortable in there no matter where the fight went. Looked good on his back. Looked good when he was standing. I think this kid can do something.
Nice. So is the big lesson here to make sure you fight the week after Dana takes a vacation?
Yeah, probably. I don't know what the secret is tonight, but yeah, I don't know. Just what I saw here tonight, I just felt like the ones that were questionable, I'm going to let them answer all the questions themselves, And for Impa to want to turn around and fight again, it's a smart move, really good move. You're seeing a lot of that now with a lot of these kids these days. These kids want to keep fighting, want to turn around, and it's literally the best thing they could do for themselves.
Yeah. A couple other quick ones outside of tonight. You went to go visit Mike Tyson over the weekend, right?
No. So what happened was that got posted. I'm either going this week or next week. I got to figure that out tomorrow.
I'm curious because it got announced today that that's now going to happen in November. I thought maybe you went and visit. Are you trying to get involved in that at all?
No, I'm not getting involved. No. But he asked me to come out and watch him.
Fair enough. The other thing I wanted to ask, last week you did an interview with Complex. You said that Izzy and Costa will probably take place on Fight Island. There's been talks of maybe that pay-per-view 253 moving a week later to September 26th and being Abu Dhabi. Do you have any information on that? Because I think we all thought the events in September were all going to be in Vegas, and you told them that fight will probably be in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, no, that's. I told you guys we were going back to Abu Dhabi. Yeah, I think this next run in Abu Dhabi will be 5 or 6 weeks.
Do we know when it starts? With that fight, I'm assuming.
I do, but when the time comes, I'll announce it.
Fair enough. Thank you.
All right.
Hey, Dana. In the main event, it was a good fight, and it sort of ended in a weird way with the arm breakage. Could you ever see a time where you do an immediate rematch on the Contender Series with 2 Contender Series guys?
I don't know if that guy's going to be immediately doing anything anytime soon.
But in a scenario where it sort of ends in a weird way, could you imagine just booking them again on the same season of the Contender Series?
Well, I think that, yeah, but I don't think that's fair to the kid that won. I think dominant finish and, look good and has the record and, he's a guy that you look at and you look at the way he fought and you're like, yeah, he's in.
With a guy like Impo, and you said it's important for these guys to stay as active as possible. With the way the world is at the moment, right, local shows aren't even running. So is it even more important that when they get here, they can tell you guys, call me anytime?
Yeah, that's a great point, actually. Yes, for a guy like Impa, and wants to turn around. Plus, like I said, in the smaller circuits, people don't want to fight this kid. So, when you see a guy that's as athletic as him and as talented as him, and with, like you said, what's going on in the world right now, give the kid a shot. If I have any questions or reservations, they'll be answered on the 22nd.
Tonight, some of the backstories were incredible and incredibly sad. I just wonder, when you see those playing inside there, how do you stop yourself from thinking, I'm going to have to give this guy a shot anyway?
No, so that's why, when all these things are built and everything's done, I don't watch any of this stuff because I don't want to know any of these people until tonight. And, I don't want to have I don't want any of that stuff on me. I want to watch them fight right there that night without knowing. When I sit down at the table, this is in front of me. And I look, I'm like, oh, yeah, Impa's back. He's 6 foot tall. Oh, no, his record's 6-0. He's 5'11". He's 26 years old. He's got 2 submissions, no knockouts. His opponent's records are 10-4. This is all the shit that's all I look at. And then they either get me or don't get me during the fight. And I try hard. I put my headphones on a few times, but I try not to listen to any of that stuff. Because that does fuck with you, and that will definitely, oh my God, this guy has the worst story ever. How do I not sign this guy or this girl? And that's happened to me in a couple of seasons. I got sucked into putting the headphones on and listening to the stories, and I can't do that.
Just 2 more, just sort of following up on what John said. Do you have any idea why the Tyson-Roy Jones thing has been postponed?
I do, but that's none of my business.
Okay, fair enough.
It's none of my business.
And isn't going to become your business.
No, it's none of my business.
All right, and the other thing, did you end up speaking to The Rock?
No, I haven't talked to The Rock yet.
Okay, cool. Cheers.
Thank you.
Dana, Jim Greashopper, cage side seat. I have to ask you about Impa. I mean, here's a guy who came back this season after last season, picking up the win, didn't do enough, comes back today, says he'll fight in 11 days, but just to be on a card, for him to be on a card with a guy like Frankie Edgar, I mean, just these dreams that are coming true, and a guy comes out of nowhere, and now he's fighting on the same card as Frankie Edgar. What does that feel like for you to just be able to facilitate things like that for these kids as they're coming up? And does it ever get old to see those looks on their faces and the reactions that you get?
Nah, I love doing this show. I've told you guys a million times. I could do this every night of the week. But that's what this show was built and designed for. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a dream. Everybody wants to be a world champion. And everybody wants to fight in the UFC. Very few people actually get to do it. So whenever we do, whether it's the Contender or looking for a fight, and we meet these kids that are working their way up in the smaller shows to get here, I guess I'd say it's very rewarding. It's fun to do. The shittiest part of the show is telling people no, saying congratulations, you didn't get it. That's the worst part of the show. But tonight was a good night.
Yeah, it was for 5 fighters. You can't take everyone, but I wonder too, you talk about giving people the platform, and the UFC is what it is, it's huge, but people running with it, and you can't help but think about Sean O'Malley coming to town this week. And for these fighters who are here today to see, he sold 20 grand in merchandise the other day. It hasn't taken him long at all to make a huge name for himself.
Yeah. Listen, man, people like Sean O'Malley from the first day. He has 5.5 million views on his Contender fight. 5.5 million people have seen that fight. The only one bigger is Chase Hooper, who has 6.5 million views. This show is huge. Before you ever set foot into the octagon for a UFC fight, millions of people have watched you. It's the fast track. It's the way to. It's the way to get noticed quicker. And like a guy like Impa, like we were talking about, for him to turn right around and fight again, people start to remember you, and the more active you start. I mean, look at what it did for Hamzat when he turned around that night. He's like, I'll fight again. And I'm like, well, fucking hey, I'll do it then. I'll turn this kid right around. Because people love that shit. People love real fighters. People love guys that just want to go out and fight. They love it. They get behind it. I knew if Hamzat came out and he fought again, and if he was as dominant as he was in the first fight, that he would take off. The guy, Eric, How fast did his social media grow? Grew 10 times in a week. But it was up like 15,000% or some crazy shit like that. The guy had, 30-something thousand followers, right? Was it 30-something thousand? Now he's got 400,000 overnight. This is in a month and a half. You know how long it takes most normal people to grow 400,000 when you have 40,000 or 30,000. So it's a smart move for some of these kids to do it. Some kids can and some kids can't. If you can, I highly recommend it.
Last thing for me, you come off vacation and so many events this month. It's been a crazy summer, but Stipe in DC this weekend, huge. The trilogy, I see that smile.
Yeah, I'm so pumped for that fight. First of all, both the fights, before the trilogy have been incredible. The way that Cormier won the first fight and the way that Stipe won the second fight. And it's one of the best trilogies ever. And I saw some debate on if the winner of this fight would go down as the greatest. There's no fucking debate. There's no debate. The winner of this fight is the greatest heavyweight ever. Not of this era, ever in the UFC history and mixed martial arts. You can I know there's talk about other guys and shit. You got to look at who they fought. And there's no doubt. There's no question that these two, Saturday will determine who the man is.
Thanks, Dana.
Huh? Yes. Yes. Come on. Come on with that shit. Yeah.
Dana over here. Obviously, Contender Series has never looked better with so many of the vets now being in big fights, especially in recent weeks. You talk about bringing back the Ultimate Fighter. I think a lot of people, you get excited about a night like tonight, and people are asking, Dana, do we need Ultimate Fighter? Why not just give us some more Contender Series?
Yeah, well, we've got, first of all, the Contender Series. I can't run the Contender Series all year long. You have to give this, especially now in this pandemic, these smaller events aren't even going on right now. So the fact that those aren't happening really does hurt the Contender Series. So, you need these fights happening every weekend. So, yeah, there's definitely room for the Ultimate Fighter while the Contender isn't going. You have to have a good year off for the Contender Series for the pond to fill back up and find some new talent.
Out of curiosity, when you think about Ultimate Fighter, all these guys locked in a house, they can't go outside. Do you think that's going to feel very different from regular life lately?
Yeah, no, it used to be fucking hard. Now it's probably not. People want to get out of their locked up house to come get locked up over here probably. Yeah, no. Yeah, it's not as weird as it used to be.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good? Thank you, guys. Good night.